Okay, so we've got a KTM 450 here that just had some head work done, and we put it back together. First thing we noticed after a test ride is oil showed up in the coolant. So there's a couple ways that can happen. One is with a head gasket that is leaking between the cooling system and the pressurized oil system. Not real likely, but it's possible. Then the other issue could be the head itself. Because it had new guides hammered into it, because it had a little bit of damage when it was running, it could have a crack. How do you find a crack in the head? So, what we've done here, what I've done here, I guess you could say, is sealed off all of the cooling system ports and the pressurized oil system ports. The pressurized oil will come up these bolt holes, so we plug the bolt holes. It has two oil jets. We have one with a hose, the other one's plugged off. Now we've got a hose to pressurize the cooling system. And what we're going to test is to see if when we pressurize the coolant passages, to see if any air is bleeding in to the oil galleys. It shouldn't, because they are two completely separate systems. And so what should happen is when we pressurize the cooling passages, nothing should be coming out of this hose. If it does, then we know there's a crack because the two are mixing. So let's look down here. We've got a little soap in the water so we can see any bubbling. Let's see, here we go. Oh, here we go. Yep. What that's telling us is that's the problem. We're doing it in the reverse. I mean, if you really wanted to check it the way the engine runs, if you wanted to check it the way the engine runs, you would pressurize the oil galleys and see if it leaks into the cooling passages, but that's just not practical because there's so many oil passages in this head. So we did it the reverse. We pressurized the cooling system and saw that oil is leaking in, or air is leaking in to the oil galleys, meaning that when this thing's running, since the oil pressure is about 60 psi and the cooling system is about 15, the oil is passing right into the coolant. And so now we found our issue. That's good news. The bad news is we need a new head. So that's life. So there you go. That's it.